Hashtag bring the Oilers back to Houston and get rid of the Astros.
Trash can people.
Saquon Barkley might be the worst negotiator in NFL history.
I know I'm better than you.
Check this out.
A lot of his throws were careless, but they paid off.
Derek Carr looks like he was in My Chemical Romance.
It might be worth something waiting for.
A pitcher throwing a $145 to somebody that can hit the ball 160 miles an hour off the bat. Come on. I'm watching that. I'm watching that.
Yeah. Vision.
All right. And we are live. Settled Stats, August 16th. A lot has happened since the last show. So we got to talk Jets and Pats, Trey Lance, oh my lord. Got to talk Bryce Young, Packers, Calvin Ridley. That crazy lady on Speak. We got to talk. Her comments are a little crazy. Calvin Ridley.
Her little outburst.
Did I say Calvin Ridley already? But anyway, Calvin Ridley, we'll mention him twice because he was off for a year and he looked pretty good the other day. Deuce Vaughn. Can he be the running back 2 for the Cowboys? We're going to talk the Manziel documentary and Wander Franco. I'm going to leave that there. So we're going to start with, or actually let me do this first. So we're going to have this rolling in the background. Got to have the NFL Top 100. We're going to have that going in the background so we can comment on that ridiculous list when we want to. Definitely not happy with that list. So that'll be up. But anyways, we got to talk Zeke and Dalvin Cook, 2 running backs. We said that the other day. We just talked about Zeke going to the AFC East.
Yeah, we just called it. And more specifically to the Pats.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of glad. I like it. And I like the Dalvin Cook thing also for the Jets, but a lot of the conversation has been who won. Like, who got the better running back for their situation. And I think it's got to be Zeke hands down, only because they just upgraded big time in the pass block area with Zeke. Because if you're not using Zeke to run the ball,
right,
30 times a game, you can use him for his pass blocking, and I'll make an argument that he belongs in the Hall of Fame as the best pass blocker that's ever played ever. Yeah,
he blocked pretty good, yeah, that's for sure. I think the Jets might have won the for their situation, because I don't necessarily even think they needed to add to their situation. And I think Dalvin Cook is just, and we've talked about it before, it's not like he's the dude. He's not the best running back in the league by any means. He might be top 10. But adding him to the Jets lineup already, I feel like he's going to be explosive, and I feel like he's going to unlock a whole different characteristic of their game. I think they're going to be pretty good. Like Super Bowl.
I can see that. I think
he only makes it better.
He's going to know how to use him also, which is going to be nice. But he's questionable right now. His status is questionable. So he's injury prone. He's one of those guys we've talked about being injury prone. But if he stays healthy, he could do some damage with the Jets for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's done pretty decent. He's not one of those backs he's not on his downhill yet, I don't think. If he just stayed healthy, I think he'd be pretty good for a couple years here to come. Zeke, on the other hand, is on his downhill. But like I said, with pass blocking, you just can't beat that.
Yeah, I think it just goes to it's going to go to show how the Patriots decide to use them.
Right.
I would just red zone, obviously, abuse the shit out of them, and just, I don't know, I wouldn't hold anything back. Like,
yeah, because that Stevenson kid,
use him till he can't walk off the field.
Is running back 1, right? Zeke's right behind him.
Oh,
They've got
he's
Ty Montgomery. I think he's hurt still, but Zeke obviously will be the number 2, I think. But yeah, you use him in the red zone. He's a great pass catcher. Also, he doesn't have that north and south speed anymore. But I think as a blocker and at the goal line, he's going to be pretty valuable.
Yeah, and I think it just boils down to every team could use an Ezekiel Elliott, and I don't know. And the Cowboys obviously had planned on going a different direction with the draft and everything, obviously. But I think any team could benefit from pass blocking like that extra pass block. That it's so big, picking up blitzes and stuff. It's like it could make the difference in a game whether you pick up your blocking assignments or not.
Especially if you've got a line like New England. Who's going to protect Bailey Zappi? QB1.
QB1, Bailey Zappi.
I mean, so the Cowboys, I was kind of hoping that they'd re-sign Zeke only because he's been a Cowboy. Like, I wanted him to be a Cowboy for life, but I'm also honest with, especially running backs, when they start going down, that's the time to sell. But he almost ran 1,000 yards last year. He ran 800, almost 900 yards. Tony Pollard, I think, ran over 1,000. But Zeke had 12 touchdowns last year. Pretty good. I think the Pats are going to abuse him.
Yeah, that's how they need to use him. Because he's not. He's definitely on the tail end of his career. Now, just use up what he has left. Oh, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Oh, number 99 on the list.
They call him number 99. They couldn't even put Devontae Adams, or not Devontae Adams, whatever his name, the last guy, number 100. Smith, yeah. I mean, at least swap him. If you're going to put DeMarcus Lawrence on the list, for whatever reason.
He takes last. Because when we were talking about this list when it came out, I was like, DeMarcus Lawrence is on the top list if you're making a Dallas Cowboys 2023 list or 2022 list.
Or top 100 defensive ends.
He's not on a top 100 list from last year. There's other people that were much more valuable. Even though he had a great year for the Cowboys. It wasn't a great year in the NFL, I don't think.
No, and I think he only stood out with having a great year for the Cowboys is because how terrible he's been doing in the past 3-4 seasons or however long it's been, where he doesn't know how to spin, can't spin, no spin.
Yeah, because there was a couple of years I was wanting to get rid of him. I mean, we're paying the guy $90 million to play that bad for those. It was like 2 or 3 years straight that he played terribly, and then last year he woke up finally, which was great. But yeah, like I just said, like that's great, but consistent. Like you're going to be on a top 100. There's other players we could think of. Like we started making our own list, but this list is almost too frustrating because there's players that shouldn't be on this list at all. And then this right here, this is number 98 we're at, and then it's Tristan Wirfs.
I thought that was Tua Tagovailoa.
Same dude. Every guy from Hawaii acts like every other guy from Hawaii. But Hawaii right now though.
Ooh. Yeah.
But
throw it up for the
I
real
am
thing.
going to say one thing about these wildfires. Thank God Oprah went on the news and said my house is way up high on a hill, so I was unaffected by the fires. So I was really happy to hear that. That was really good, really nice.
Dang.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I forgot about her.
Yeah, she traffics children in Africa, from what I understand.
That's why I haven't seen a whole lot of her.
Yeah, she's doing some other ventures. She's not handing out cars to people in her audience anymore. But to get back on track, Tristan Wirfs, much higher on this list, right?
Yeah.
So when you're talking, he's right there behind DeMarcus Lawrence, and you're talking worth to the team. Tristan Wirfs is light years ahead of DeMarcus Lawrence last year.
Yeah. You could live without a DeMarcus Lawrence.
Right.
The Buccaneers were nowhere. They were definitely subpar for sure. But you'd start taking away major pieces like that. Yeah, he's way valuable.
Yeah.
Way more valuable.
Oh yeah, he's their Zach Martin. He's almost as good as a Zach Martin. I wouldn't put him as high, just because he hasn't done it as long. But man, he's good. So for him to be 98 on this list, that's kind of surprising to me. Devonta Smith, we broke that one down, and we thought that was kind of a good spot for him, except for the DeMarcus Lawrence right in front of him.
Yeah, right.
Thought that was a little weird, but you can name 10 receivers better than Devonta Smith, and they're all on this list. There's I think 10 or 11 receivers on this list, but so he's in a good spot for where he's at. I don't know. He did good last year, but he definitely wasn't what they portray him as. He didn't have that kind of effect on the Eagles. Jalen Hurts was a bigger, know what I mean? Like, he was a great addition to that offense for sure. He's good, but number 100, that was a good spot for him. So we're talking Zeke, Dalvin Cook. So we already talked about Dalvin Cook. He's injury prone. Zeke is not. Zeke doesn't miss any time, even when he should, because he's had a couple of things wrong with him and didn't sit out and played anyway, and then come out later and said I played hurt when he shouldn't have. He
should never happen.
Tony Pollard just handle it right. It was Jason Garrett stuff. He was just letting it happen. But
are you sure you're okay to play? It's like, yeah.
Right, like what player is going to be like, no, I don't think I can play? You better be on an injury list somewhere or something for you not to play. Like any of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Like we talk about like soft players in the NFL, like Josh Norman and like Jalen Ramsey. These people come to mind when I think of soft, like butter soft, bird chest. But they're in the NFL still. Like, you got to be a tough son of a bitch to be in the NFL still.
Oh, absolutely. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think being reliable and running less yards and being a better pass blocker, I think the Pats definitely won if we're talking in terms of who won the running back situation.
Yeah.
And Dalvin Cook being hurt, and he just had surgery, right, in the offseason?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but he's always hurt. The guy's always hurt. That's why we know who Alexander Madison is before he took over.
Yeah. And that's why they were okay with getting rid of Dalvin Cook.
Exactly. Like, he's the same guy. So, another,
he had shoulder surgery.
Was it shoulder surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's questionable. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see what he does I'm kind of excited to see what Aaron Rodgers does with Dalvin Cook, not necessarily what Dalvin Cook's going to do for the Jets.
Yeah.
That porn star coach they got over there, he's going to win Coach of the Year probably.
That smooth-looking Vin Diesel mofo?
He is, too. You know he only rides with one hand in the middle of the steering wheel, and that thing is gripped, white knuckling.
Yeah, just like if you take like sandpaper in your hand, just grit it around a dowel, like a piece of wood, just a sand, dust flying off.
Family, brother.
Yeah.
So, let's talk Trevor Lawrence real quick. So Trevor Lawrence, number 96 on this list. There's a lot of quarterbacks on these top 100 lists, right? There's a bunch of quarterbacks. Does he even make this top 100?
Not based off what he's done, that's for sure.
Yeah, like last year was a really good year for him, but still, if Aaron Rodgers had that year, or Tom Brady had that year, we'd say they had a terrible year.
Yeah, it was a bad year.
But Trevor Lawrence, the good thing about Trevor Lawrence is he is getting better every year, which is good. But it's so weird how certain quarterbacks get a pass on how long it takes to develop them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, give him some time,
Yeah.
and some people just don't get any time at all.
Like Desmond Ritter played 4 games, and he's like, the whole fucking jury's out on him.
Oh yeah, nobody's a believer. Nobody. They don't believe in that kid.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Cool. So Trevor Lawrence, let me see. What did he do last year? Okay, yeah. 3,600 yards first year, 4,100 yards the second year. So maybe not a bad year. 25 touchdowns. He sacked 27 times. QBR 54. He had a good year for Trevor Lawrence. That's what I'm going to say. I'm interested to see what quarterbacks are above him. I think we could probably name most of them, but not that I think Trevor Lawrence isn't a good quarterback or that he's not worth being on this top 100, but if he is on this list, what quarterbacks are left off of this list? So I was just saying, last year wasn't too bad. So I want to kind of retract that statement saying Drew Brees or Tom Brady or whoever, Aaron Rodgers, if they had this type of year, they would have a bad year.
Yeah.
So his first year he threw 3,600 yards. This last year he threw 4,100 yards, sacked 27 times, 25 touchdowns, which was double what he threw the year before. And they went to the playoffs, and like they were like that team everybody was kind of rooting for. So I do put him on this list, but only at the cost. Who are we leaving off this list if Trevor Lawrence is on this list? That's my only thing. Not because he's not worth of being on the top 100, but if there's a quarterback they leave off of this list that played above Trevor Lawrence, I don't think they can fit all of the quarterbacks in that are better than Trevor Lawrence.
No,
you know what I mean?
So
I feel like he shouldn't be on the list, even though he deserves like accolades just for himself, for his team, for what he did last year. Because I could see him throwing 30 touchdowns, 4,500 yards this year, and just being
I think he's gonna have a good season. Yeah, and I think he's gonna improve yet again. But just based off what he did last year, I don't think it's enough to be top 100.
Right, I don't either, especially with the quarterbacks that are above him, because like we were saying, how many quarterbacks are on this list in front of him? Like Patty Mahomes is going to be number one, and like Dak's going to be on this list. You're going to have Joe Burrow on this list, obviously.
Aaron Rodgers,
Josh Allen. There's so many. Daniel Jones is even on this list for last year. There's a lot of people on this list, but I mean, it might be they might catch us, but I think there's going to be an issue there. I think Trevor Lawrence gets bumped off this list. But so I want to talk a different quarterback over in the NFC West. Trey Lance played the other day. And we've talked about Trey Lance. We called it last year. We gave him some time before.
Yeah, as you do with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I always like to give enough time. Like, look at all this leeway Trevor Lawrence is getting. It's only because he's getting better every year. If you stay the same or you get worse, you're a bust as a quarterback. You have to get better. Or at least a little bit better. You don't even have to you don't have to have like a decent year and then an MVP year. You just have to get better every year as a quarterback, because usually they get better. The older they are, the better they do.
Like every game, there should be improvements at some point.
It's why, like, there's always anomalies like Tom Brady, and look at Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that, and Joe Burrow. But there's always like John Elway waiting till the end of his career to win a Super Bowl, and Brett Favre, and you know what I mean? Like, all these guys usually get better as they get older. But Trey Lance is one of the guys that I feel like I can guarantee now hasn't gotten better, so he'll never be good enough to play in the NFL. Because he's the best he's ever going to be.
Plateau way too early, yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it happen. So what do? You just trade him?
That's what they're going to try to do, I feel like, but...
And what's that market going to look like, I wonder?
Yeah, he's a backup quarterback. That's all he's ever going to be.
Yeah, and if you want to throw Gardner Minshew and all these other guys into the mix, is he even a backup quarterback? Like, he's not even a Cooper Rush. He's not even... No. I mean, Jared Goff is above... Derek Carr is above this guy. Baker's above this guy. There are so many there's 2 quarterbacks on his team right now that are better than him, and he played in a game. That means...
And one of them, Sam Darnold. That says a lot there.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that tells me the 49ers kind of want to, like, hey, let's give him a shot, see what he does. Like, he might have gotten better, like... But I don't understand how you can't... Like, you've seen him in NFL games, and then you see him this preseason game that he had this year, and it doesn't look any different. He can't see the field. He looks at one receiver and he stares him down the entire way across the field, and if he can't hit that receiver, he tries to bail out and run. It's like a Justin Fields thing. Like, oh, I am trying to pass first. It's kind of like Lamar Jackson. People talk about him like, oh, he can throw the ball. Okay,
he's not a running back.
Well, he always looks for that one guy. He doesn't have quarterback vision like some of the elite quarterbacks. And it's the same thing with this guy. Trey Lance is not even close. He doesn't have any vision whatsoever. He's got tunnel vision on the one guy. It's like only running like hot zones on Madden, or hot routes on Madden, and just only going to that guy. That's kind of how he plays.
Yeah.
And it's super obvious when you're watching him play. It's weird. Like, parade him out there to suck, or are you just playing him because it's a
the hype around
game,
him?
You know he's not starting, so I'm just going to play him.
There's been so much hype around Trey Lance for 3 seasons now.
Big time.
Like, they made everyone think that he was the dude.
Like Joe Burrow hype.
Buying his jersey.
It's not Pat Mahomes hype, but it's
no.
Like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow hype. They hyped it up like he was going to be something, and he got replaced very fast after that injury, because he came in for injured Garoppolo, right? And then he got injured.
Which I think that the Niners' big mistake was getting rid of Garoppolo.
Right, yeah.
Like, he's not the greatest quarterback.
Just one of the easiest backups. One of the easiest backups. Super easy guy to have on the team. Knows his role. He's not trying to be the dude. He's just there.
Well, so if Brock Purdy comes out this season and just completely sucks, he's thrown 10 picks already in training camp, and that's including, like, joint practices with other teams. But if he comes out and shits the bed, like, they have to lean on either Sam Darnold or Trey Lance, like, rather than having Jimmy G, which has led them to the playoffs countless times.
Yeah, because, I mean, we always look at the backup like the backup doesn't matter, and then you Joe Burrow
until they do.
And the backup, you're like, shit, we've got Trevor Siemian. Guys, it's Trevor Siemian. Like, you can't...
Yeah, there's just no QB depth. You have to have... If they talk about depth all the time, but some of these quarterback rooms are weak.
Big time. And they're talking about allowing 3 quarterbacks now. I don't know if they're doing that for this year, or if it's just in the discussion.
Yeah, I think it's for, like, the playoffs or something.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all, because I don't want to see Julian Edelman come in for... You know what I mean?
No.
Like, when Tom Brady went down, Garoppolo goes down, like, Wes Welker's your quarterback. Or Edelman's your quarterback.
Just call the game. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, no, that'd be even worse than Trey Lance. So, I don't know. I just think it's a strange situation for me, because I'm one of those people that was like, oh, is Brock Purdy that good? And you're like, oh, dang, he is pretty good. And then the next week, you're like, damn, he's solid. Like, he's been consistent. And then 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah, just waiting for him to fail.
Yeah, I mean, they were just going every week, and it was like, okay, like, I have to like you gotta give it to him at a certain point. You're like, this guy can play NFL football, and he was obviously the dude. He obviously replaced Trey Lance, and then they come out preseason like, oh, we don't know what's going on. We got 3 quarterbacks. Oh, what's happening? Brock Purdy's got to be like, fuck you guys. I obviously won the job.
Right.
You guys are. I mean, he might know. There's inner workings. Like he's probably been told he's the starter because that's obvious.
Shanahan's been super high on him.
Yeah, because he is really good. Like I don't care if he's throwing picks in training camp. I feel like look at Cowboys camp. Like we're having fights break out of just for anything, but Dak's getting picked off left and right. Even though it probably will happen in a game, hopefully it doesn't transfer to a game.
Yeah, you just got to hope that Trayvon Diggs is just doing really, really good this training camp.
Right. Let me just hope he picks everybody off this year and just goes nuts. But yeah, Trey Lance, I get rid of Trey Lance. Sam Darnold will be my backup, and that's how that's going to roll if I'm the 49ers. And I want fires there. Like, I want them to start Trey Lance. I want him to be the guy. I want Brock Purdy to be the backup and just waste his career and play Trey Lance so the 49ers aren't good. But I know that's not going to happen.
No.
They know who's better, and they'll play the better guy, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see him burn.
God, that'd be great. That would be great. Who's this on the top 100? Is this Hendricks?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee's Lamb? Sedarian?
Miles Austin. Yeah, I think it's Kendricks.
He's probably in a good spot. I have nothing to say there. He's pretty good. I'm just glad that they don't have him because how crazy people were on the Vikings last year. Like, they were going to win the Super Bowl week 1. I'm glad they didn't put him like top 20 or something crazy. Marlon Humphrey
number
being
18.
number 92 is a little bizarre also, but
yeah, I guess it voted on by the players, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure how it
vote
works.
on it, but they don't know shit. They don't know shit.
Oh.
These players know football and stuff. I give them that, but they don't know shit. It's just like when you're running to first base and you're like, oh, safe all day, safe, and everybody else is like, if you could see it from our angle, you would know you're
like
out
you're
by 3 miles.
Clearly out.
Yeah, like, oh, did you see that catch? Like, yeah, it was all right. Hey, did you see that block? Yeah, but you missed him. Like, there's always something to cut somebody down on. You're never perfect at football.
No.
So Bryce Young. We talked a little bit of Bryce Young. So I heard a comment on Shady McCoy on his show on Speak. And the woman that's on there, I'm not sure who she is, but she's on there because she's a woman. And she said 2 weird comments today that I thought were odd. This is the second of the 2. But she said she needs to see more from Brock Purdy. And we just talked about him a little bit, but I don't know who needs to see more from Brock Purdy. I don't need to see any more from Brock Purdy. I don't think anybody on the 49ers needs to see any more from Brock Purdy.
Right.
But then you've got the other comment. She says Derek Carr is obviously the best quarterback in that division.
The best quarterback in that division.
The best quarterback in that division. So that tells me Derek Carr is better than Bryce Young, Desmond Ridder, Baker Mayfield. So I give you Baker Mayfield. And I barely give you Baker Mayfield because if we were talking Baker Mayfield is obviously the best quarterback in the division, I'd say I'll give you Derek Carr because they're interchangeable. They're the same type of player to me. Neither impresses me.
Same guy.
Both of them throw just errant passes all the time. They do things that you're like, what the hell? They do bizarre things on the football field, and they're way low on the pyramid of quarterbacks. They're nowhere near. They can't even see they can't even see Dak Prescott, let alone seeing like Joe Burrow and them up there at the top.
Right.
So, but that comment blows me away because Derek Carr hasn't done anything anywhere. His best year was this year if he stayed with the Raiders, I think.
Oh, Drake London fumble.
Drake London fumble. Who are they doing right now? Oh,
Sam. Still, yeah.
Yeah, Derek Carr, his best year is this year on the Raiders, but he's not on the Raiders anymore. I think he would have done great 2 years with Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs led the league. They've got some stuff going on right there. They've got a pretty damn good defense. The Raiders are looking pretty good. So,
yeah, I think they're.
I don't think it was his choice to move on. I think they were just obviously ready to move on. I don't know why
for obvious reasons
you do that for Jimmy Garoppolo, but I do think Jimmy Garoppolo is much better than Derek Carr. I'd be so scared how injury prone Jimmy Garoppolo is, but how pretty he is also. That'll mess with you. You don't want that close quarters. Close quarters. A guy that pretty. Moving on. So Bryce Young. What did we see from Bryce Young the other day? He played, and the one thing, like I was telling you, I was pretty surprised with, was his ability to throw the receiver open instead of, because high school ball, college ball, you see a lot of, hey, he's open, throw the ball. Know what I mean? NFL, you got to say he's going to be open here. That's where I'm going to throw it, and you let him go get it. And I saw a lot of that the other day. He was hitting. His timing was impeccable. I watched the game twice, and his timing was great. And the only thing, I'm not even going to really mention his size because
his childlike frame,
his turtle dove body, like he's a small human. He is a small human being. He's as tall as Russell Wilson, but smaller body, if you can believe that. Because Russell Wilson's a little chunky. He's been in his office a little too long, so he's gotten some weight. But for you to be 5'10", they list him at 194, but he's like 160. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's no way he's 194.
He's not 200 pounds.
No.
There's no way. He's so small.
Not even if they weighed him with all his gear on.
Right, yeah, with everything, and he was holding weights. And the only thing with him, and it is because of his size, but it's kind of, so he ping pongs off of people. Know what I mean? Like, people are barely touching him, and he's flying.
Yeah, he's just
down to his
bouncing
hip.
Off.
So a lot of it is like falling, like quarterbacks do, how they're trained to fall to the side and kind of slide and like try not to impact the ground if you can help it.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that going on, but I'm telling you, he springboards off of people when you hit him because he's so small. So my thoughts on Bryce Young is that he's going to look very sharp. He's going to make some great passes. He's going to look clean. I'm sure of it. But I do think he's going to get hurt. Only because he's so small. And I get people are going to hate that because, oh, look at Russell Wilson and look how many of them there have ever been. It doesn't work a lot. That's why, like, you have to be really good. If he's as good as some of these passes look, DeAndre Hopkins on this.
How is he on he got suspended for steroids?
So a 2022 list of top 100 players, and DeAndre Hopkins makes the list. That's my first really, really bad one. That one kind of annoys me.
that's one issue I have with this list.
Is this a good old boy list? Is this like, oh, he's cool, he thinks he's the best, so we gotta put him on the list? I don't like that. But Bryce Young, gonna get hurt. The guy's gonna get hurt. He's too small. Unless he's extremely elusive, and he might even have a fantastic year this year and just surprise everybody, and kind of make it look like his size doesn't matter. But he'll be figured out eventually. He's not going to be able to...
Yeah.
I get you can hide behind your lineman because you're tiny, but...
you still have to throw over the top
right,
of them.
These things are going to be figured out. A little bit of tape of Bryce Young will do people quite a bit. Let me see. Oh, but Desmond Ridder in that division with Derek Carr, and Derek Carr being the best. That kind of blows me away, because I get they're two completely different players because they're not even in the same era.
Right.
And Derek Carr is on his, I don't want to say on his way out, but
right, but he's
been around
over
for
the
a
hill,
minute.
feel like.
Yeah. So I feel like Desmond Ridder has so much more potential, and not even mentioning the talent that's on that offense, just the potential of what we saw last year. I feel like he could be better than Derek Carr. So I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know what she's basing that on, because she didn't really give. She likes to say things like that, like Dak Prescott's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. And you're like, what?
Just totally
and then she just kind of,
yeah,
she doesn't explain what she's talking about. But it's kind of the same thing with Derek Carr, obviously the best quarterback in the division. She didn't really quantify it. So I can't really, I don't really understand what she's talking about. Because if you want to talk about last year, then yeah, I guess he was the most accomplished out of those four. One of them wasn't in the NFL. One of them...
Yeah, one of them played 4 games.
Yeah, one of them played 4 games after Mahalo cut the head off the Falcon over there in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield. Let's be real. So, okay, he's the best quarterback in the division. We'll give it to you, because
sure,
you're on TV with Shady McCoy. But
we'll say it's more of a by default thing.
Right, yeah, really by default, and really because of Devontae Adams. That's all I could think of.
Right.
But Marshawn Lattimore. We've got Marshawn
top
Lattimore
90
on this list. How many cornerbacks do you think made this list?
Jeez, I don't know. I don't even know.
There's no way we get through this top 100. There's no way.
No.
Because this is ridiculous. Marshawn Lattimore.
Trash.
This guy caught a ball on his butt one time, and everybody lost their mind like he's a lockdown corner or something. Eli Apple was like do-si-doing him for his job. Like, oh God, this guy's irritating. Flexes on every single play. That kid's annoying. So, the other quarterback, besides Bryce Young, to play was Jordan Love. The Packers smoked him.
Yeah.
Who
was not a close
Who
one.
did the Packers play?
They played the.
I know they played the Patriots this week, but they played the Bengals. That's right.
Bengals, yeah, the Bengals.
Smoked them, 36-19. Which I get it; it's preseason, but the other thing we were kind of talking about the other day with this preseason thing is, let's give preseason a little goddamn respect from here on out, right? I feel like, because
definitely this season has been a whole different level of competition.
Yeah, like I feel like we hit a plateau and went over it onto the next phase of the NFL preseason. Like, how down on preseason were we as fans? Like, oh my God, football's finally here, but it's preseason. like, don't even watch the games. Like, I'm not gonna pay attention until the first week, and then you'll start paying attention to it. But this year, it just has a different feel because they introduce a lot of these players before the draft, and then the draft starts. So you kind of want to see how some of these players do. But now that we've gotten rid of we've added the 17th game, got rid of week 1 basically, and just made it the Hall of Fame week, and every team plays 3 games for preseason, which it gets rid of like the dress rehearsal. Remember that? Game 3, like preseason week 3 was always the dress rehearsal week.
Dress rehearsal,
and it was like everybody plays their starters, and it was like everybody knew week 3 was like a real NFL game, but that really made the rest of them pointless. Now we see Russell Wilson and his entire offense and his terrible offensive line had him running for his life. We saw that in a preseason game.
Week one.
But then you have Cowboys. Don't play anybody.
Yeah.
So there's no dress rehearsal anymore. It's so sporadic now that the records really don't matter in preseason now. You can win all 3 or lose all 3. It just does not matter anymore because it's not about that anymore. It's strictly tryouts.
Just roster
building.
building.
It's tryouts and pulling guys from, like, guys that weren't on the team, weren't going to be on the team, because most of these coaches know they're 53 for the most part. Like, there's a few up in the air, but by this point, they're playing some of these starters. Okay, yeah, he's got some reps in. Now put these randos in. And that is when these games are, like, kicking off. Because we're seeing dudes, really work for their jobs. And
fucking battling for spots.
So now, if we keep seeing this, I wonder how intense week 1 through the rest of the season should be. We should see a whole new level of football. I feel like, I don't know, the game is just getting faster. These players are getting better, and I don't know. I see we're going back to rugged, work hard football. It's not we're on the team, we're too good to play. Like
bunch of lazy.
Yeah, now it's like, no, go. You're gonna play preseason, or you're not. Like whoever. Like, I like it. I just like the mix now because you could show up and you're playing the Chiefs just lost. But do you think Patrick Mahomes played it at all? Like, he probably wasn't even allowed to look at the field. So,
right.
I like this.
Ooh, number 87.
Like that's pretty high. I don't know how many guards have been up here, but
I'd like to see him closer to the top 10.
Right? Yeah, we talked about putting him closer to like 60-something. We put him 65 on our list only because how many guards were on this list? There's hardly any. This kid's pretty good. I like this guy. He's definitely one of those that wants to attack linebackers. Like, he wants to hit the first guy out of the way and then get up to that second part of the defense.
Just smash a backer.
Yeah, I like him. That's pretty good. He could probably be higher, though, because I'm sure there's not many guards on this list.
No, that only gave up 2 penalties.
Right, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Sounds like 0 false starts. They were probably both holding.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty killer when you got somebody doing that.
Blast it.
But he's new, though, right?
Yeah, I think this is his 4th season.
So he's a veteran, but he's new.
I'll be right back on. I got to FaceTime KB. Be right back.
Gotta go take care of the chillins. So while Q is saying goodnight to his boy on the phone, whoops, my bad, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and put it on the starting screen, and we will be right back. we are back. I am back. Let's get this going again. Oh, Chris Lindstrom. So we're on Jordan Love. We're going to talk a little Jordan Love when Q gets back right here, but I think there was a lot of people excited to see Jordan Love. And there was a lot of people with questions about Jordan Love. And most of those questions got answered. So we heard out of Packers camp that Jordan Love wasn't doing well. We were hearing rumblings, but we didn't see much of anything. There was almost no tape of Jordan Love at training camp, and that was crazy because we have so much tape of all these different quarterbacks, and Jordan Love was not really somebody we saw anything in training camp. And when we saw him play the other day, I think we kind of saw why. So I'm just talking about Jordan Love, how we kind of heard rumblings and stuff that he wasn't doing well in training camp. I can't believe Justin Fields is on this list. In training camp, we heard he wasn't doing well, but we didn't see any tape. Like, there was almost no tape of Jordan Love at training camp, and it's the Packers. Like, this isn't like if we don't see, God, I don't know, like, we don't see Cardinals shit right now all over the NFL Network. Like, it's the Packers. It's still one of those teams we expect to see, and it's one of those teams that if you don't see things from, you're like scrounging for the information. You're kind of like, well, what the hell's going on? Like, I need to know what's happening with the Packers, guys.
With no Aaron Rodgers this year, especially, like, people are curious.
Yeah.
What is it going to look like without him? What's going on there?
Like, how good is this kid? People want to know, and people want to know if he's like, we want to know if we're good or not. Honestly, like, me as a Cowboys fan, Packers are cowboy killers. Like, I want to know what we're dealing with at this point, and it's like they're hiding information from us, and I hate when they do that because internally I think they know, oh shit, like, this guy's not that good. We lost Aaron Rodgers for him. Let's kind of leave it in the dark a little bit, and then boom, showcased week 1, and he disappointed in my book. For how long has he been in the NFL? This is his third training camp, right?
Yeah, I think it's his third training camp.
I expect you to look a whole lot better, especially for sitting under Aaron Rodgers. I know he's not teaching you a lot, but if I'm Aaron Rodgers' backup, I'm gonna hold on to his pocket and like listen to everything he says, eat everything he eats, do everything he does.
Everywhere he's at,
like, this guy's a 4-time MVP, about to be 5, and I'm gonna follow exactly what this guy says and does, and I'm gonna emulate what he does, and he's so far from it. He looks scatterbrained to me. He looks confused at times. He looks like, you know when you see quarterbacks like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, or like the really, really good ones that control the clock, and like they're the only ones that call timeouts, basically. Sometimes the coaches don't even call it. Like, he's one of those, like this guy, like a Justin Fields. He's on the field like he has no control over anything. So you see him up at the line, he's about to call an audible or something, and the coach is like, timeout. And he has to run to the sideline. He's like, hey, here, listen, little fella. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, what you were trying to do there.
We don't do that. So that's kind of what I saw. I saw the Packers, their defense fly around like crazy because everybody's trying to make jobs. But I was not impressed with Jordan Love at all. Laremy Tunsil, 85.
No, I didn't watch the game. His stat line wasn't too crazy. 7 for 10, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. But I couldn't get a grasp of where like his reads were or anything like that.
Yeah, to me he looked To me, he looked confused is the best word I can use. He just looked confused to me. And it's not what you should see out of a... Like, if Cooper Rush comes into games and he looks like a pro, you have no excuse for going through your third training camp with the same team. Like, some players... Like, look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, for as much shit as we give the guy, we've already said, like, he's the most hype dude there is. Like, he's always in a great fucking mood, it seems like.
Yeah.
But Baker Mayfield must be extremely smart to be able to travel around. Like a Nick Foles, extremely smart. Like, these quarterbacks that hop around, Ryan Fitzpatrick, like, these quarterbacks that hop around all these different places must be, like, close to genius level for being able
just have a crazy good football IQ.
Yeah. So I kind of give it to him on that one, but yeah, Jordan Love is on the flip side of that. I feel like he's nowhere near. He's like at a water boy football IQ. Armchair quarterback football IQ.
Just have to dumb down their playbook so much.
Yeah, he should play with Mike McCarthy. I hear their playbook's pretty dumbed down.
Yeah, it's handoff left, handoff right, handoff middle, pitch left, pitch right, pass.
That sounds like football to me, Mike McCarthy says. So, Jordan Love, like, what do you think is... I mean, what's going to happen with Jordan Love? Is he cool? Like, is he the dude?
I think obviously time will tell. Like actual regular season games where he's going against the number one defenses. I don't know. Like, I totally agree with you saying that he's third training camp in, and there's been no progression. Like, whether it was the Packers putting out information about him struggling or whatever it was, I don't know. I don't feel like he's the dude, and I never have really.
Yeah, and that was strange in itself to hear, because that's the only place it would have came out of, was some sort of reporter, somebody somewhere in the Packers organization saying, "Ooh, Jordan Love doesn't look good," and then some reporter wrote that shit down and said it on their show. So it came from there. Like, I feel like if those rumblings are coming out, because it should be all like rainbows and unicorns right now at every single training camp. Like, we're all going to the Super Bowl. We're all the best at what we do. Like, this is the best we've ever been. We're ready to go. That should be your attitude right now. And for you to be down and out on your quarterback of the future,
the dude you shit on Aaron Rodgers for.
So last year, what did Jordan Love do last year? Because he played 4 games last year. That's more than I thought. But in 4 games, he had 195 yards.
In 4 games?
Patrick Mahomes gets that in the first quarter.
Let me see. I'm bringing up Desmond Ritter's stats. So he also played in 4 games, but had 708 yards.
Dang. 0
How
sacks,
many interceptions?
So that's pretty good. 0 interceptions, 1 touchdown.
That's good. See, Desmond Ritter has 2 touchdowns and 0 picks.
700 yards,
but yet
is
has
extremely impressive.
But has such a bad rap. Everyone's counting him out, but you see dudes like Jordan Love that have put up worse numbers, and he's the dude. Like, that is the dude.
Yeah, it is strange how they do that. Especially, the Falcons are one of those teams, though, because me as a Cowboys fan, we obviously know we're America's team, so we're way here compared to everybody else. But, like, the echelon of the teams, like, you've got your Patriots and Steelers and 49ers and Cowboys and Packers, maybe the Giants. But then you've got that middle tier, and the Falcons are in there, Vikings are in there. Like, there's so many teams in there. Rams, there's tons of them. Bengals, Ravens, like, there's tons of them in there. But then you've got that lower bracket of the shit teams, and I think it's only the Jags, the Texans, the Jets, and the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals might even be below that.
They might be. They're way down there this year. And they're not going to get any better. And Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 comes out this year, so Kyler Murray is not going to be paying much attention to football.
No, he'll be way too busy for any of that.
Who is this?
This is Armstead.
So another tackle. Quite a few tackles already. Couple. This boy's good though.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I'm okay with him where he's at there.
He didn't protect Tua. But
no. I don't even think those stupid pad things that they wear on their helmets could have protected Tua.
No, definitely not. There's nothing that could have protected Tua. Not even this 12-year-old coach right here.
There's something that could have protected Tua. It's called throwing the ball away.
Yeah, play quarterback better.
Play smart football.
Yeah, Tua's brain is oatmeal now because of these guys. So Jordan Love, I think I'm just gonna say cool. Keep playing like that. I love it. Don't turn into Aaron Rodgers, and I don't see it happening, so I'm cool with it. Calvin Ridley, though.
Who the fuck is that guy?
He missed a whole year and then comes out. Like, he missed a year because he went to prison and got buff, is what it looks like.
That's what it looks like,
yeah,
right?
It looks like he went in and then came out. Know what I mean? Like, he was in there eating soups and doing push-ups nonstop. That's what it looks like.
Nonstop. It's all
and I wouldn't
he does.
doubt it. Knowing Roger Goodell, I wouldn't doubt if he didn't sentence him to like 6 months or something.
At least 6
games
months.
in 3 months.
For betting on his own shitty team.
Unbelievable. Kamara, still anything on him? By the way, speaking of our shitty commissioner.
Are you talking about the
3 games?
3 game suspension?
Because I know he's gonna appeal it. He'll probably
He'll
probably get 1 game unless he denies it. Like, if I'm Roger Goodell in that instance and I already fucked up and gave him 3 games when I should have gave him 17 games.
Yeah, you gotta leave him with 3 games.
Yeah, you gotta leave him there. So hopefully it's nothing less. No games and a fine is probably what I could see happening. But he wouldn't do that for a Dallas Cowboy. That's for damn sure.
No. Nope.
So Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, like we just said,
he looks like a monster.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks big. He looks lean. He looks like the number 1 receiver on the team.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yep. And his cuts and his route running are so insane. It's so fast and clean. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening.
Remember his second year, his sophomore year, that we couldn't tell sometimes? Oh, Julio's at the top. Julio's at the bottom.
Yeah.
Or Julio's in the slot. Or so we would know where Calvin Ridley was. It was like they were the same person because they played the same way. I feel like he learned everything he learned from Julio that year and Mohamed Sanu that year. And just, he's that guy now. He looks so good. And I know, like, Tim Jones and that Pryor and who else? I don't know who else they got over there, but
Zay Flowers,
Christian Kirk, Agnew.
Yeah.
But Calvin Ridley looks to me like the El Capitan. Like, I'd have to put the captain's patch on his chest and play him wide receiver 1. Like, you go when you want to. You play.
Yeah, no questions asked.
That's what I think. Because him and Trevor Lawrence, if they hook up, if they link up, that's going to be dirty.
It's going to be nasty.
Yeah. Yep, and I like that. If the Jags can be good in the AFC and raise some havoc, kill some Patriots, slay some Dolphins, strike down some Jets, kill some Tigers,
lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
I mean, the whole AFC kind of boils down to when did you lose to the Chiefs?
Yeah, who's going to play the Chiefs for the AFC Championship?
Right. Oh, I lost divisional round. Oh yeah, we lost. We lost divisional round. AFC champ. Yeah, you don't win against the Chiefs. Not this year. I think they're going to be fine-tuned this year. It's going to be a whole nother level, and it's going to be crazy.
Yep, they finally got rid of that scrub, Eric Bieniemy.
Right? He's over there on loan for the Washington John Redcorns. He's over there on loan. We talked about that a little bit. We should probably hit that because the last show we did, we kind of fucked up. We had a live show, a live stream going during our live show, and got hard struck. And I was like, "No, wait, YouTube, no!" And then they took the hard strike down, and we're all good. But we can't do it again because our hand got caught in the cookie jar.
Yeah, it got a little smack on the hand.
Got a little smacky smack. Don't want to do that again. But we were talking about Eric Bieniemy being in the same like coaching tree as Andy Reid, and like I feel like he's on loan to Ron Rivera to fix his team. That's just what it feels like to me. But it's been beat to death already. Everybody's of course like, oh, just jump on board with Eric Bieniemy. He knows what he's talking about. You're a bunch of pussies because you're crying about, oh, he's working us too hard or whatever. I think it's absolutely crazy for that to happen in the NFL, for one, when you're playing football for a career. It's like, that's crazy to me. Like,
this is your job.
I was deployed in Afghanistan multiple times and never heard anybody bitch about deploying to Afghanistan. Like, these guys are bitching about like being talked to too roughly.
I gotta go play football.
Right. Oh my lord, you guys!
I gotta wake up in the morning and go play football.
$30,000 a day, and I gotta deal with this. This is ridiculous.
Are you serious?
Soldiers in Afghanistan making like $20,000 in an entire year,
while their wives back home getting banged out by whoever. Yeah.
Or Sancho, depends on what color they were. But we're getting a little off track. Just a little bit. But it is ridiculous. It's these grown men.
I know what you're thinking.
I know what you're thinking. It's crazy to me that they would. That's why it got to the public light so fast, I think, because how ridiculous it actually is. Because everybody in the NFL is laughing at the rest of the world, just like the MLB or NBA or anybody that's rich, anybody that's like a celebrity or has just a ridiculous, ungodly amount of money. I feel like is laughing at just regular civilian, just normal, everyday people. I feel like they're laughing at those people in their head because they know how ridiculous it is that they make this much money for doing this thing that our kids do.
You're right.
It's crazy. It's amazing to me. But for them to complain about their situation, that my hundreds don't fit in my wallet because my wallet's not big enough, and my coach keeps yelling at me because he's making us run, and like, what could he be
making
doing?
Us work so hard?
Right? What is Eric Bieniemy do? Is he like throwing things at them, like, hey, you piece of shit, ha, faggot, like throwing balls at them and like spit wads and treating them like shit and like whipping them and hitting them with stuff, like pouring drinks on them? Like, what is he doing? What is he doing that's so bad? Does he have a taser? Does he have one of those cattle prods? Like, are his tactics too crazy? Like, what is he doing? He's trying to help you win games. That's what he's...
Right? Are you trying to win a football game or not?
Do you want to stay the John Redcorn Redskins and just keep being what you are? Or do you want to maybe buy into this guy who's got multiple Super Bowls and maybe learn a thing from this guy while he's there? Because he's going to either be a head coach next, or he's going to go back to Andy Reid. It's going to be one of the two.
Yeah, I could see either way pan out, and if he goes back to Andy Reid, I bet he succeeds him there and takes over the Chiefs.
I could see that,
which would be absolutely terrifying for the whole league.
That would be pretty crazy. There was a time that I thought Eric Bieniemy was going to go to the Falcons, and I think it was like false.
Yeah.
It was, like,
and then they're
hope.
like Arthur Smith is the dude.
Right. They're like, we're going to get this guy, and he's going to grow a mustache, and he's going to be real serious. He's going to get things done in Atlanta. But I did. I texted you the other day when I saw that interview he did. Did you watch that? I was pretty impressed. I think it's on the Falcons YouTube. It's like their latest interview with him. But he was given some actual answers. He wasn't really given like non-answers. And like, oh, the guys are playing hard, and we're having a good camp, and it's hot, ha 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 ha, like they all do. And, yeah. So he was actually giving some answers, and he's talking about some of these dudes like he's blown away from what he's seeing, and he's almost like hands off is the vibe I got. You know what I mean? Like he's obviously calling his game and like doing what he's doing, but he's like freely letting them. I don't think Desmond Ritter's like calling his own offense by any means, but I feel like he's kind of letting it just be what it is at training camp, because that's kind of how he wants to run the games, maybe like a little more free flow. Like, I'll stop you if I don't like it, but kind of do what you're doing. And he's letting his coaches do what they're doing. Like, he's just being a head coach. So I kind of like it. And I don't like Arthur Smith. I don't like anything I've ever seen him do during games. He's like a Mike McCarthy to me with his clock management. But
it's just always
that the other day kind of grounded me a little bit with Arthur Smith. I was like, oh shit, is he like learning about himself? Because if he's learning year to year, then he's doing what
he's showing the improvements.
Yeah, he's doing like what good coaches are supposed to do. Because if you don't improve, not your team record, but if your coaching doesn't improve year to year, or like you don't hold on to your like Pete Carroll, I can't believe, for a guy I cannot stand as much as Pete Carroll, he has such a hold on his team. Like, they buy into everything this guy says every year. Like, Tomlin over in Pittsburgh, you're like, obviously he commands respect. Like, that's how he is. He's the third coach in Steelers history ever. Like, the guy's fucking no shit. And so obviously he gets his respect, but he's gaining it this other way. So that could be dangerous.
I think, and he definitely has the weapons on his offense this year. And I don't know. I keep saying Coach of the Year kind of jokingly, but it's probably not too far out of the.
It could happen.
Out of the realm.
It could happen.
It could easily happen.
Jason Garrett won it once. Anybody can do it. If Coach Claps won it,
Coach Claps.
Hell froze over that day. All the players.
Coach Clements.
All the players of over Jason Garrett's tenure at the Cowboys, all these careers that he just absolutely wasted, and then they all got smacked in the face the same time when he won that Coach of the Year. Everybody was like, what?
Voice side of Luakon.
Ooh, that boy. Nasty. Oh, but we got number 80, Mark Andrews. What do you think of that? Mark Andrews became an elite tight end last year for me. He jumped Kittle last year.
Yeah, I put him above Kittle.
Yeah, like he came out last year. Him and Lamar Jackson have always had the only connection on the entire team ever with Lamar Jackson.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which is weird.
Lamar Jackson is the number one quarterback in the league.
He's the best to ever play the game. So it's crazy that he's only had one receiver that he's really connected with. But last year specifically for Mark Andrews, I was like, oh damn, like this dude's fucking good. And he was always
definitely
good,
a breakout
but
year.
Last year was big time. So I feel like he should be higher than 80, because how many tight ends are on this list? Who the hell is above Mark Andrews? And he's at 80? That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is a spot for like Zach Ertz. for last year.
If you're gonna put him on the list, yeah.
Like, Lord, I don't know about that. He should definitely be higher.
Yeah, I'd like to see how the voting of this works. Like,
yeah, I want to know who does it. I want to know if players do it, because if players make this list, I understand why it's a popularity contest.
yeah, and I think it is voted on by the players, but I'm just curious how their voting works. Like if they give them a bank of players and they have to fill out their top 100, and then it's just averages.
Right, they probably don't make them work that much. They probably just like, hey, give me your top 2 players, and then they just fill it in there. Yeah. But it is like a popularity contest to me. Like, some of these, I don't know, some of these picks are a little strange. We've got Greenlaw here, right?
Yeah, Greenlaw.
He could probably be a little higher, but again, he's another one I don't really know who's in front of him. But, so, the next one is Deuce Vaughn. So, did you watch Deuce Vaughn run this weekend? So, don't consider the ugly number that he's wearing. Like, it looks fucking terrible as a Cowboys running back.
Like, it's a fullback number?
Yeah, I don't like it at all. But, I don't know. To me, he looked... So, Ronald Jones is out for 2 games. He's suspended for 2 games.
Yeah.
So Deuce Vaughn is going to be like that second guy, right? Like, he's listed 4th on the depth chart, but I feel like just from what he showed you the other day,
he's going to be number 2.
Yeah, he's got to be. That's what I'm thinking, because Tony Pollard's obviously the dude. There's no question there. But Deuce Vaughn looked pretty damn good. Like, I think he had like 7 was like his average.
Yeah, I think so. 7. And I don't know if he's fast, like quick, and I don't know if a lot of it probably has to do with the size he is. Like, he's tiny, so everything looks fast. But I mean, I know he's fast, but geez, he just looked like incredibly fast. Like his cuts and moving in and out.
Yeah, he looks like he can be. I feel like you can split. You can just truly split with Tony Pollard. Like, basically let Tony Pollard run as much as he wants to run, because I've never seen Tony Pollard tired. We've never ran him enough. He's only had 1 game where I think he went over 25 carries, and still I feel like we could have ran him 35 and he'd have been fine. So I feel like if he runs 20-25 carries a game, Deuce Vaughn is at least getting 10-15.
Yeah, I'd say about 15.
You're winning those games, I feel like. And he's catching some of these passes. He looks good to me. The only thing, like I said, was weird was his number. But we never really have a problem with running backs in Dallas either. We're usually, I mean, you can go back to Felix Jones, even though he wasn't like the greatest. DeMarco Murray wasn't the greatest, but as far as like solid running backs,
still pretty solid.
We're usually pretty decent with backs. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with Zeke moving on and Deuce Vaughn. I just want Deuce Vaughn to be that second guy. I don't trust Ronald Jones at all. I think he's
the fumble.
Yeah, he just drops so many balls. I didn't like him as a Buccaneer. I've never liked the guy. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he runs very hard. He had that job. Look at that job he had. And he just let it go. Could have played a lot harder to keep that, and he lost it. And Fournette's gone too, right? He's not around there anymore. Like, he did it he could have still been around there. He could have been.
He's still a free agent.
So with Ronald Jones, I think it is 2 games.
Yeah, for his PED ban. I'm curious, like, it's so crazy because, like, even Deshaun Watson, or what's his name? Old Deshaun.
Miss Deshaun Jackson?
Mr. Deshaun Jackson, no. I can't even think of his name. His mom is a blind hooker. She got acid thrown in her face.
Oh, DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, his mom. She's a little messed up. She's a little messed up. But, I mean...
I totally lost my train of thought.
That money. If you go out there and you're turning tricks and you don't bring home that money to Daddy, Daddy's gonna get that money. Daddy's gonna get that money out of your ass. And that's what he did with acid on your face. Unbelievable. What a terrible story. She's at every game, though, watching from the front row. Or listening from the front row. Say what you will about my terrible comments about DeAndre Hopkins' mother, okay? Fuck DeAndre Hopkins, okay? That's what I say. Come at me, bro.
I remember what I was trying to think of. What I was about to say about DeAndre Hopkins. It's just the different types of game bans they have. Like it's just, they both got in trouble for PEDs, but one's going to be suspended longer for the other.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like cheating is cheating.
Because he's just a quick draw McGraw. Like he just
I think he draws that shit out of a hat.
He does.
Like he has
like he has a dartboard and he just goes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Zeke. 6 games.
Yep, 9 games, boys. That's how stupid it probably is. He's up there with his prostitute,
does
his
he appeals
mound
the
of
same
cocaine, and all of his drinks, and he's having a big old bash with Bobby Kraft and all his homies, and he's up there probably laughing about it. I think that's how he makes those decisions. He's just like, I don't know, who is it? What team? 8 games. 8 games.
He's appealing. Okay, let me throw another dart.
one more dart, double the games.
Yeah.
Hit a 6. So 12 games. 12 games after the appeal. That's what he does. I feel like it's so sporadic. It's just, it can't be, there's no thinking behind it whatsoever, because you have 2 assault cases. One wasn't prosecuted. One was prosecuted. He was convicted. It was pled down from a felony, and he got 3 games. He got less games than the person that didn't get charged at all. And he punched somebody in the face that knew they were in a fight. Like, he was going to punch him in the face, but this other guy that got convicted stomped this guy out with his homies, and he got 3 games. That's fucking amazing. That right there is spitting in our faces. We're the reason, the fans, the NFL fans are the reason Roger Goodell is allowed to laugh in our fucking face. Because he makes these decisions. I feel like it's purposely laughing in our face. It's like Joe Biden right now. Like, look at all this crazy money from the Ukraine and from Russia and all this shit. He's got like $100-something million fucking dollars that nobody can account for, going through all these different businesses and all these different, you know what I mean? Like, paid out to all these people and all this crazy shit. It's right in your face, and it's like, fuck you, what are you gonna do about it? Because, it's the same thing he's doing. Because, like, say something. 8 games. And then when you're like, okay, I'm sorry, he's like, all right, 6 games. But watch your fucking self. Like, that's what it is. It's like the mafia. It's so bizarre. Peyton Manning needs to be the new commissioner. He needs to be the next commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good for football, for sure.
Yeah, he would bring back actual football, and then people would hate on him and say he's the worst commissioner ever because, he didn't get hit. He benefited from all these rules, and now he's making the game harder for everybody else. Then the players would really start bitching. Either go to leather helmets or shut the fuck up, I say. Play football.
Yeah, they know what they're getting themselves into. Like,
yeah, you know what you're signing for millions of dollars for. Just like we were talking about soldiers in Afghanistan. They're signing up to go fight wars for not even a 16th of what these guys make. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, one of the Manning brothers, I'll even take that fucking mouth breather Eli. I don't care who is the next NFL commissioner. It can't be Roger Goodell. Okay? He just can't. He can't do this anymore. It's unbelievable. Some of the decisions he makes, and it's just okay. Just laughs in our faces. Johnny Manziel. So,
piece of shit. Yes.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah. So Michael asked if we were going to watch the Johnny Manziel documentary, and we quickly responded with no. My reasoning was, we watched him piss away his entire life because he's an entitled loser,
little douchebag.
I hate the kid. He's an entitled prick, just a spoiled little fuck who got everything handed to him. They called him Johnny Football, for Christ's sake, and he just pissed it away. And I'm gonna watch that again in documentary form. Like, I don't need to see that twice. We know what happened.
See this firsthand. Yeah.
Like, wasn't he? He was out like doing crazy shit. He was pissed. Like, he was like a reckless person trying to ruin his life.
Like everything he could try to do.
Yeah. So I feel like I know the documentary. I feel like I've seen it because we watched it happen. Like, that's the thing with some of these documentaries. Steph Curry's got a documentary. Like, can't we wait until the guy retires? Can't we wait?
Or dies.
There's things that should be in this documentary that aren't going to be in this documentary now because you're doing it super early. Like the Kobe documentary. There's one very important thing that happened at the end of Kobe's life that's not in the documentary.
Really?
Yeah, you won't believe it when you hear it. It's a spoiler alert. Kobe died in a helicopter accident. We'll definitely hit that one day. We got to talk about that because it's been 3 years. Hey, let's hit it now. Fuck Johnny Manziel. Kobe Bryant. Kobe being Bryant.
The Black Mamba.
Was at fault for the helicopter crash. I think people are gonna think I'm crazy because there's so much. How much? I've never seen more purple and yellow things, paint, random
Everywhere.
anything, purple and yellow stuff ever before Kobe died. So everybody kind of freaked out. I remember when it happened, and I was like, "Oh damn, that's crazy! This happened. That's super tragic." Like Kobe Bryant, I remember watching his whole career, little Afro pup back in the day, and he was the closest thing to Michael Jordan we'd ever fucking see. And LeBron James is nowhere near. We'll of course have that conversation one day, but he's not even near Kobe. He's not even up there with Kobe. But Kobe was supposed to fly at 9:30 in the morning that day, right? Kobe,
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
wanted to leave early. He wanted to leave at 9 because he wanted to watch the game before his daughter's game. And what we didn't know at the time of the crash is Kobe abused this helicopter. And what I mean by abused, he could get anywhere in that city. He can get from corner to corner of LA in 10-15 minutes with this helicopter. He was known to always travel in the helicopter, even if he was going somewhere for 5 minutes. He would travel all the way across, land. He would go stay high, kiss some babies for 5 minutes. I don't know what Kobe Bryant's doing for 10 minutes somewhere, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, traveling around doing all these different things in LA. So he goes to 20, 30 things a week in this helicopter. He's known to just abuse it. I would not doubt, I'm sure it'd be embarrassing for the family if it came out, but I would not doubt if this guy didn't go get a Wendy's Frosty and some fries at like midnight with his helicopter.
Right, just because he
could do it. So that morning, police helicopters were downed. Nobody could fly. Nobody was allowed to fly this day in LA.
Was it because the fog was so thick you couldn't see anything?
Yeah, the fog was so thick, the fog was so bad, the weather was so bad that nobody could fly. All of these aircrafts were downed, and for some reason, Kobe Bryant's helicopter, his privately leased helicopter, or rented pilot of a helicopter, I don't know exactly how it's done, but he pays for this helicopter, for some reason was allowed to fly that day, and nobody seems to want to mention that or talk about that or give some sort of reason as to why he was allowed to fly, because nobody wants to say the real reason. He's a fucking 100 millionaire that can just do that. Nobody wants to say that. Like, if LeBron James wants to go to Pedophile Island like Tom Hanks, he can just do that because he's LeBron James. He has that much money, and nobody's going to say shit about it. That's why Kobe Bryant was allowed to fly his fucking helicopter like it was... Like, he could just go wherever he wants. That's why I think the Wendy Frosty is stretching a little bit, but I'm sure he made some pretty ridiculous trips.
But is it?
Yeah.
Is it really stretching it a little bit?
Has he ever just flown his whole family somewhere and, like, shut down the whole world for him and his family to enjoy? Like, my family's going to Disneyland. We're renting out the whole park for this day, and we fly over there.
That's right. Everyone get in the helicopter.
He did that type of shit. Which, whatever, you do have that type of money, but you got to be held to some sort of standard, especially when other aircrafts are downed and these people aren't allowed to fly, and all of a sudden you're allowed to fly. So this thing's up in the air, right? They take off, terrible weather, then it clears up for a little bit of their ride, and then it gets really bad again. And they request to fly under these VFR conditions, which are like special conditions. Like, I'm flying at 3,000 feet, know what I mean? Nobody else is going to get into that airspace while I'm flying in this special, know what I mean? Like, I can stay here because I can't see shit. I'm going to stay at this altitude, and I know nobody is going to come into my airspace. Like, I'm not going to collide with somebody randomly. So they requested this, and the crazy shit about this is when they requested this, the weather was bad, and he was circling. He circled like 6 times, which... speaking from experience now, flying in a helicopter, if you're circling, it's because you're like waiting on something, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna stay in this spot so you can track where I'm at, so I don't cause any kind of, and then tell me where to go, and I'll go on that route, because there's lanes of travel in the sky. So he's circling around 6 times, and then he starts flying again when they're like, hey, get on this path. Boom, he gets on the path, he starts going again, and he's still under these VFR conditions, so nobody's able to get in his area, and they're telling him he's kind of low, and he's like, okay, well, I'm climbing above, I don't know if he means like I'm climbing above the storm, or like I'm climbing above the clouds, or whatever he's talking about, but I'm gonna climb to 4,000 feet, and as he's saying I'm climbing to 4,000 feet, he's actually dropping at a couple, like, 100-something miles an hour.
Jeez.
Yeah, like, we're talking like 150 meters above the ground. He's not at, like, a straight downhill, but it kind of crashed at, like, kind of an angle like that. But he was hauling ass. He was assing. And as he was descending, going that fast, he was saying on the radio to the tower, I'm going to ascend to 4,000 feet. So why would he say that at the same time he's crashing the airplane, basically, or the helicopter?
Yeah, because even in thick fog, you still have your instruments. Right. Like, you still know your altitude, you still know your speeds, everything.
And if you're so there was a couple things. There's no black box in this helicopter, which I always think that's kind of weird, because in the year that we're in now, like, for any kind of aircraft, not to have a black box in it is amazing to me. And I always thought it was because the things you would have heard You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah, like,
shit.
but I mean, we've seen videos of people on 9/11 jumping from buildings and hearing them fall into the concrete. So I don't know why hearing Gigi screaming in the back of a helicopter would be any different. You know what I mean?
Any worse, yeah.
So
yeah,
I just think it's bizarre that he said he was going to climb to 4,000 feet, but he's going not straight down, but he's pretty much diving straight down into this mountain. And
yeah.
So maybe he was disoriented and he thought, because when you're in a helicopter, you basically have that feeling of, it's like you're holding on to a rope, right? But a giant has the rope and he can just pick you up that easy. That's how fast he can move you. Like, that's what it feels like in a helicopter. It moves you. So I don't know what was happening there, but I do feel like Kobe was like, we're fucking flying.
Yeah, we got to get to this game early so we can watch this game before this fog melts off.
And that's why there's no actual answer for what happened, is because nobody wants to come to that conclusion of it was Kobe Bryant, and that's why they were special enough to fly. And they shouldn't have, because nobody wants to speak ill of the dead like that, I guess. But it is exactly what it is. You shouldn't have special treatment. But anyways, Kobe Bryant's dead. That's the story of Kobe. But Johnny Manziel, I don't want to watch you in a documentary ruin your life like we watched you do it live. And we laughed at it as it was happening. So that's the only reason I would watch the documentary, maybe, is to laugh at it again, just to refresh on how ridiculous he was.
Yeah.
But I'm not watching that. I'm not even watching the quarterback thing. And Peyton Manning made that, right? Peyton Manning produced that?
I think so. I think he's one of the producers.
I heard old Mahalo was going to be on it, and that was
Mahalo.
That was it for me. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson last year was number 72.
Did he even play
last
year?
That's what I'm saying. Was he even there? Didn't he? He came back like Superman or something in one of those games, and that was. I don't know. I don't remember Lamar Jackson much from last year.
I remember him sitting on the sidelines during the playoffs when he could have been playing.
He could have been playing. I do remember that.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson on this list. Lamar Jackson is a great player. I don't want to say he's a good player. I don't want to say, he's not that good. He's not a great thrower. He's a great player. He is. What he did his MVP year was the closest thing we've seen to like a Michael Vick experience. And the people that watch Michael Vick understand what I'm talking about when I say the Michael Vick experience, because the commercials and stuff we had back in the day. But that was an incredible thing to watch. And it was an incredible thing to watch when Lamar Jackson was doing it. I just feel like Lamar Jackson is such a blade, such a scary weapon when he gets out and wants to run, that you just can't afford to let that happen as a defense, even though a lot of the time he's just going to do it anyway, and he's going to make you look stupid and break some tackles and make a great run, and this is just what he does. But for the most part, I feel like these teams are so afraid to let him even have that chance. You know what I mean? Put a spy on him every play. You got to have some sort of cover for that every single play, because every single time he has the ball and he doesn't hand it off, there's a possibility that he's going to slice you up with some sort of run, and he definitely can do it. He has the ability to do it. But if you don't give him that option and you keep him inside the pocket where he needs to throw the football, the throw, I don't think, is going to be great every time. Not a transcendent thrower of the football, in my opinion.
We're talking about how good Lamar Jackson is?
Yeah, I was saying his, like what he did, his MVP year, super impressive.
Yeah. But other than that,
yeah, I feel like people understand he can slice you up if you give him that option. Like, let's make sure he does not leave the pocket, or if he does leave the pocket, he runs out of bounds. Like, do not let him slice you the fuck up. Let him do it maybe once or twice a game. You might get a couple.
Yeah, because it's gonna happen.
But if you contain him, you might see some picks. You might see some tip balls. You might see some ugly ducks thrown up in the air. Like, you're gonna have some chances. From what I've seen from Lamar Jackson, because he's not a great thrower of the football. From what I've seen, he's elusive and he's scary on his feet. But not. He's not a huge threat to me with his arm, in my opinion.
So.
And he'll never get back to MVP Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, because he's never going to be allowed to do that again. He's never going to be. Everybody knows what's up when they play Lamar Jackson now, and it's almost more scary to play him than play Patrick Mahomes, because at least Patrick Mahomes you can play kind of straight up, and like, if we just lock it down and play really well, we'll have a good chance. But Lamar Jackson, it's kind of like he's gonna try to fucking slice us up all day. That's what he's going to try to do. So I feel like it can be more dangerous. So it can pay off big time, which it has quite a bit. But people know now. People really know. Because, you're watching Patrick Mahomes. Even Russell Wilson. I'm watching Russell Wilson in the pocket. Like, he's going to try to take off. And that can be dangerous. Because we've seen Russ do some damage with his legs. But once you're figured out, you have to play like everybody else. Everybody's held to the same quarterback standard. And if you can't play quarterback, which Lamar Jackson, I don't think he can. That's why that's why everybody was like, well, what the hell? Just pay the man. Like, pay him. Fucking pay Lamar Jackson.
What?
While you and I are sitting here like, hold on. Like, I wouldn't pay Lamar Jackson because this, and this. Like, he's not a quarterback I want. That's for sure. I'm looking for Joe Burrow. I'm looking for a Josh Allen. I'm looking for a Patty Mahomes. Like, even a Dak Prescott, because I love the decisions Dak makes with running. Like, it's not too much. It's just a good balance. Like, Patrick Mahomes is the best balance of that we'll ever see, I feel like. But Lamar Jackson's not that guy. Is this Russell Wilson right now? What is it? Who are we on right now?
DeForest
Buckner, I think. Okay, because I'm like, we've seen Russell Wilson on like 10 of these. Is he on this list at all? Because if he's on this list, I was just going to shut it down and
just turn it off.
Yeah, just cancel our YouTube, never even put on another show. I was going to call it good because Russ, oh my Lord, Russ is cooking.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Joey's Bosa, number 70. Did Joey Bosa play at all last year? He played like the last few games or something?
Last few games, I think, was all.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I think that's about it.
I don't like the Bosa gals. I'm not a big fan of the Bosa gals. I do like Nick Bosa over Joey Bosa, but I don't feel like either of them. The Watt brothers really impress me. The Bosa brothers, it's like,
Nick Bosa impresses me. Joey Bosa, I think, is a big-ass crybaby.
He is one of those. He's always thinking he got held on everything. But he doesn't realize he's just, most of the time, he's a clunky idiot. And he has hooks for arms. That's the one thing I noticed about Joey Bosa. Every time he goes in, he hooks himself. He almost lets the offense, like, get inside of him like that. Know what I mean? He's not like a regular defensive end, like, let me beat your arm down, or I'm going to bash your ribs so hard that you never do that again. He just goes in just straight hooked and gets caught up a lot. He's another player that's blown up way more than he should be. Because you did that on Denver's offensive line? Who hasn't done that? It's like cornerbacks could rush Denver's offensive line. Stream suspended for policy violations.
What? For
What
why?
did we just say? What could we have said? It wasn't the Kobe Bryant stuff, was it?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, it's fucking down. Well, that's strange. That's hella fucking weird, because we didn't have any... There was 0 live video. It had to have been something we said.
It's so weird, because
I'm going into the studio. Well, at least I can smoke some weed. It doesn't even say. It's not even giving me a reason.